The Rabbit and the Turtle. Most people don't know that turtles did not always have shells. Turtles were, in fact, fairly fast when they wanted to be and could give a rabbit a good run for his money. But they seldom saw the need for speed, and besides, training was hard. Homer the Turtle and Yetbah the Rabbit were actually very close friends. Yetbah the Rabbit took a personal interest in Homer's health and safety, coaching him and helping him train so that he could outrun the ruthless and merciless wolves, lions, and tigers that were in the forest. But while Homer the Turtle could be inspired or even scared into doing his daily training in the moment, his attention span was notoriously short. Yetbah the Rabbit thought of the idea of the race to give Homer a goal to work toward that would keep him focused. He asked the squirrels to pony up a bit of their acorn wealth that they had tucked away for the winter as a first prize purse for the race. On the day of the race, Homer showed up a bit tired. Having partied the night before, he was a bit unfocused as well, and when the dog let out the starting bark and howl, Yetbah dashed off at his usual pace. Homer made it out of the clearing, away from the grandstand, and thought about how tired and hungover he felt. Now, Homer found a shell leaning up against the tallest oak tree in the forest and thought, I'll just climb into that there shell for just a while where no one will notice. But his hangover headache would not let him drift off to sleep, so with a deep sigh of self-pity, he kept saying, "Oh, poor Homer, poor old Homer, Homer," and on and on. And after a while, he began to feel better and better, but only as long as he continued saying, Homer. He forgot about the race and just withdrew his head into his new shell and closed his eyes and, with a peaceful smile, continued to repeat his name. Meanwhile, Yetbah finished the race and received the first prize. The squirrels were elated at the event, having made a bundle on the concessions. They wanted to have a race every day. Yetbah agreed to be the undefeated champion to beat, and contenders popped out of the woodwork, lured in to try and win that purse that the squirrels ponied up each day. Before long, Yetbah, who won every race, had amassed a fortune in acorns. Meanwhile, back at the old oak, Homer had attracted many followers. First it was other turtles who found their own shells to withdraw into, and then other animals gathered who could not cope with the wolf-eat-dog world of the forest and needed to find inner peace. Needless to say, Homer never finished any of the races. Yetbah heard about Homer and his new followers surrounding him at the old oak, and he revisited his friend, peering from behind a nearby tree. They all apparently seemed unconscious of the wolves and lions and tigers gathering and watching from behind the surrounding trees, just like Yetbah. Well, not only that, Homer sessions were taking up the time his followers needed to prepare for the coming winter and keep in training so as to keep ahead of the vicious yet cunning predators. Yetbah had seen enough and jumped into the middle of the circle. In his animated way, he tried to wake these followers up to the dangers of ignoring the wolves and the lions and tigers that were hiding in the woods, waiting for the right moment to take them one by one. But most of them just glanced up at him, then closed their eyes again and continued saying, Homer, over and over. It seemed to Yetbah that he was the only one that even thought about the dangers that surrounded them and the coming winter. Some of the acolytes even acted openly hostile to Yetba for disturbing their peace and for being too dumb and unenlightened to understand real Homerism. They escorted him out of the clearing and told him to shut up and don't come back. Yetba couldn't stop worrying about his fellow creatures here in the woods. Flush with financial acorn resources, Yetba traded some of his acorns for the deed to the clearing in the woods that Homer and his new friends occupied. He gave the beavers jobs to construct high walls around the clearing to protect the ashram, in spite of being despised by Homer's followers. He even asked the beavers to work extra quiet so as not to disturb the acolytes. He then hired badgers and wolverines to guard and protect the gates and walls of the old oak ashram. He gave jobs to a gaze of raccoon to maintain the grounds and wash and cook the food that Yetba traded for and donated daily to feed Homer and his followers, who now had no time or inclination to do it themselves. Such was the importance of maintaining inner peace. Free food in a secure setting were attracting new acolytes, many of whom intended to take advantage of Yetba's largesse while just giving lip service to Homer's practices. Instead of sitting and saying, "Homer," he observed that many of the new acolytes were constantly on their smartphones, yakking with their friends or watching comedy plays at the new theater house, often using Yetba as the object of derision and the butt of all the cruel and slanderous jokes. But they would always show up around supper time. Yetba had to expand the ashram to accommodate the expanding movement, and found he had to win more and more races to pay the employees of the ashram, because he could not let his fellow creatures, especially Homer, simply starve or get eaten. Eventually there were races less and less often, as more and more of the creatures in the woods became Homer followers, and the prizes for the races became smaller and smaller as more and more squirrels also joined the movement. Far be it for a squirrel to pass up a free meal. You know how squirrels are. The rabbit's money and strength began to run out, and Yetba was forced to make sizable cuts in the meals, the maintenance, and security personnel for the ashram just to keep it afloat. Homer's devotees began to complain and murmur. They were no longer saying Homer, but were all abuzz about the monumental stinginess of that idiot Yetba. When Yetba finally had to announce to Homer's followers that his money and winning streak had run out, the new acolytes began rioting, burning down buildings in the compound, and beating the remaining beavers and badgers up. Seeing what was happening to the beavers and badgers, the few bears and wolverines guarding the wall simply left. The food was now gone, and in spite of Yetba's pleas for mercy, the hungry mob, who had mostly forgotten how to fend for themselves, now hung Yetba from that old oak for being so stingy and miserly with his wealth. Then they hung poor Homer on the tree next to him when Homer tried to defend his friend. It seemed the leader of the mob, Mickey the monkey, already had thought of a better plan for what was left of the ashram. You see, Mickey had made a secret deal with the wolves, lions, and tigers, and he let them in through the now unprotected and unguarded gate one night. Mickey told the acolytes he had to maintain order after all those riots that he personally led. Mickey's new associates then terrorized, enslaved, and devoured the now unprotected, untrained, and unaware creatures of the woods. You see, what poor Yetba and Homer should have known was nothing is ever free.